What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and learn about some Canadian Heritage Minutes, which are these amazing 1 minute long videos about really important people and moments throughout Canadian history, really. And I've got a couple more here that I want to check out today. Some of which were actually recommended by some people in the comments of the previous Heritage Minutes video that I did, so thank you for that. And one I want to check out here first is called Viola Desmond, or Viola? Viola. I'm gonna say Viola Desmond. I apologize if I'm saying her name wrong. If I jump to this is actually a very popular Heritage Minute. It's got 1 million views. And it says the story of Viola Desmond, an entrepreneur who challenged segregation in Nova Scotia in the 1940s. Let me just read a little bit of background here before I start the Heritage Minute so I even understand what we're talking about. Viola Desmond, Viola Irene Desmond, businesswoman, civil rights activist, born 1914 in Halifax, died 1965. She built a career and business as a beautician and was a mentor to young black women in Nova Scotia through her Desmond School of Beauty Culture. Wow. Very, very cool. In 1946, she challenged racial discrimination when she refused to leave the segregated whites-only section of the Roseland Theatre in New Glasgow, Nova Scotia. I had no idea a moment like this happened in Canada's past. This instantly reminds me of Rosa Parks here in America, famously a black woman who refused to leave the front of the bus, which was only reserved for whites only. This reminds me a lot of that. Super, super powerful, super progressive stuff here. So I'm really excited to hear this story. Viola Desmond. Okay.
All I wanted was to see a movie.
Yeah.
One down, please.
I can't sell downstairs tickets to you people.
Man, it's honestly, that already took me by surprise, the you people thing. But I kind of appreciate that they put this in the Heritage Minute. It makes you uncomfortable to see what the world was like and racism, and I've never even seen this in regards to Canadian history, just American history of segregation. But seeing this at all, I feel like is important, jarring, but important to acknowledge and remember.
Down, please.
I can't sell downstairs tickets to you people.
How dare they? I could afford to buy the more expensive ticket. I run my own business.
Wow. So she was, oh my God, someone is about to touch her. And I paused it. Oh my God. I was just saying that it's amazing that even her, she's a very, very successful black woman, but because of the time period she's living in, she can't sit where she wants to sit.
More expensive ticket. I run my own business. But they refuse to take my money.
Whoa. So, I guess I never really thought about it, but they removed her physically. The police came, or whoever this is, and physically put their hands on her and dragged her out of the theater. Which, is very sad, but it's also, important that she made a big show of it. And this became part of history. And in the end, was worth it for her to stick to her guns and feel like she had to send a message here, even though she was told she couldn't. So they're dragging her out, putting her in jail.
They left me.
Putting her in jail. She could afford. That's one of the crazy things. She can afford the ticket. Sounds like she's very wealthy, and she can afford it. They just don't want her money because of the color of her skin. And I understand. Okay, whatever. They have this policy where they're dragging her out of the theater. It's crazy, but putting her in jail, that's insane. But did happen.
They left me there all night.
Wow.
On what charge? They said I didn't pay the theater tax. But it was really about color.
The theater tax sounds made up. Like they're like, we can't put her in jail unless we have a charge. And the security guard was like, the theater tax. And they all like chuckled to each other like, yeah, she didn't pay the theater tax. Like just so they could have a reason to charge her and put her in prison. It's pretty disgusting, honestly.
Sister Desmond, appeal this conviction and your community will stand behind you.
Do you have any idea what this will do to us?
So what are you going to do?
What will it do? I guess he's just concerned because of the legal ramifications, and also, in this time, it was difficult to step outside of the norm as a black person and make these kinds of statements. There was a lot of societal pressure, and literally, the law is working against you, like going to throw you in literal prison for violating what were these social norms and rules. But it's honestly incredible and ended up being so necessary that strong people like Viola Desmond stepped up and broke the law and said, no, it's not right. I don't care what you say. This is pretty amazing. I never knew there was a story like this in Canada, and maybe there's other stories like this in Canada. But we did learn a lot about this kind of thing growing up in the United States. But it was about the Rosa Parks and the American figures in this kind of time period. So this is really cool. Like, never heard of this before, honestly.
This will do to us.
So what are you going to do?
Make it right.
Viola Desmond's case inspired Nova Scotia's civil rights movement.
Wow.
She was pardoned 63 years later based on the injustice of her conviction.
She was convicted. So she tried to fight it legally? So she was convicted and wasn't even pardoned of this till 60 years later. Was she trialed and put in jail, or oh, there's her picture. I feel like I gotta follow up on this. I gotta know the end of this story. Okay, here we go. In 1946, she challenged racial segregation at the cinema in Nova Scotia, refusing to leave a white-only area. For this, she was convicted of a minor tax violation for the 1 cent tax difference between the seat she had paid for and the seat she used. So they had a technical reason to convict her by 1 cent. Desmond's case is one of the most publicized incidents of racial discrimination in Canadian history and helped start the modern civil rights movement in Canada. Wow! I didn't even realize, like, even after this story, I didn't realize quite how important Viola Desmond was in Canadian history and the civil rights movement. That's unbelievable. I didn't know about any of this stuff in regards to Canada. 2010, she was granted a pardon. I think that's about it. I don't think she was actually thrown in prison or anything. She was just convicted of a crime, of a totally stupid, like 1 cent difference. And wow, I can see why that is such a popular, famous Heritage Minute. That's unbelievable. That deserves, like, recognition. So that was a great suggestion. Great suggestion. Great story. Oh my God. I mean, horrible to think about that time period and how this kind of thing was necessary, but beautiful to learn about these kind of literal heroes who were willing to sacrifice their own personal well-being to fight for what they knew was right. Like, there's almost nothing more noble than that in a way. That's amazing. All right, next, I have another Heritage Minute recommended called Laura Secord? Secord? I can't pronounce anyone's names today. I don't know what Laura Secord, I'm gonna say. After her perilous journey to warn of an American attack. American attack? No, in the War of 1812. Wow. Okay, let me read a little bit of this. No, not those bad Americans attacking. What? I actually don't know all that much about the War of 1812. I've learned a little bit about it. It's pretty horrific to think that Americans were attacking parts of Canada. That's pretty terrible. And apparently, there's a whole Heritage Minute, a whole story based around this. And warning, Laura Secord, mythologized historic figure, died in 1868. This was quite a long time ago. During the War of 1812, she walked 30 kilometers? 30? 30 kilometers! From Queenston to Beaver Dams to warn British lieutenant that the Americans were planning to attack. This story has become legendary. She is mythological. Well, fantastic. Let's take a look at this. This is intense.
In June of 1813, Laura Secord overheard the secret plans of the American soldiers in occupation.
If you raise your sword against Fitzgibbon, Upper Canada will be broken.
How many men can we muster?
500.
No way. So she is taking care of people during the War of 1812, and she hears those pesky Americans literally talking about invasion and battle plans and men that they can send. And she somehow, like through a miracle, a coincidence, overhears this through a door and is like, I gotta do something with this information, I guess?
Infantry, battery of artillery, my dragoons. Fitzgibbon can't manage more than 50 men, small bandit natives. Not a serious resistance if you're equal to the Enterprise.
Pursue the advance 2 days hence.
She's booking it. She didn't even have to think about it. She's just booking it. She's like, Canadians are in danger. And they're gonna, by the sound of it, are completely outmatched and outnumbered. So did she know at this point she's gonna have to run 30 kilometers? 30 kilometers is how many miles? I need American metrics. I'm sorry. I don't understand the 30 kilometers. 18 miles! She's running, she's jogging. I don't care if you're walking, jogging, or running 18 miles. That is crazy. How long would that even take you? If you went, it could take 10 minutes a mile if you're doing a fast walk, which is like 180 minutes, 3 hours at least. She's just out running across the countryside for 3 hours to send a message. Like, that's amazing. God. Ooh.
Take me to Fitzgibbon.
Laura Secord delivered her message to the Canadian troops. The Kahnawake Mohawks forced the surrender of 500 Yankee soldiers, and the American invasion was stopped.
Those Yankee soldiers! But all joking aside, she was also there to help some of the natives, by the look of it, they were definitely going to get, like, surprise attacked and killed. So she actually saved all their lives with this, like, basically a pretty incredible athletic feat. I don't know how much cardio she usually gets in her daily routine. Probably not a lot. So just getting up and going on a 3-hour-long journey across the countryside to save lives, that's pretty amazing. I'm actually really pleased. I'm really glad this story, like, survived through history. This is amazing. That is mythological. It deserves its title. Laura Secord. That's amazing. Never heard of that one either. I love these Heritage Minutes. They're filled with all these little stories that are so, like, I'm kind of shocked how amazing and impressive and pivotal Canadian moments they are that I've not heard of. And I suppose that's just a product of me being American. I assume most Canadians know about this stuff because it's pretty darn important, pretty amazing. And finally, we have syrup. Syrup! Maple syrup. This is one I picked for the final one. This seemed like just a fun Heritage Minute to check out. Seems like it's the discovery of syrup or the beginnings with the indigenous people of Canada, like figuring out maple syrup, or this is a family of Atikamekw First Nations show a French-Canadian family how to harvest the syrup of the sugar maple. Oh, that's super cool. This is like how it began. How the story of syrup in Canada kind of began, huh? Canada is the world's leading producer, exporter, accounting for 75% of the global market. I can't believe that. 75%. That's still boggles my mind. And I think I learned once it's because of Canada's climate and balance of cold and warm temperature makes the trees very conducive for mapling. Something like that. I could be totally wrong. But besides that, let's learn about the Syrup Heritage Minute. So these are Indigenous Canadians. They already seem to know what they're doing. Oh, and here's French Canadians? Oh, they know exactly what they're doing. I love how these old heritage minutes are shot. They look so nostalgic somehow. And very realistic, honestly. So the First Nations people here already know how to harvest syrup. That's a part of their culture, I believe. And this is Canadians, like French Canadians, learning. They're seeing them. Oh yeah, they see that stuff dripping out of a tree, and they're like, what is that? That looks good. What is that goo? That goo coming out of the tree. I want to eat that. That's exactly what they thought.
Wait.
Oh, I love this recreation.
This is a ceremony?
So, are the First Nations people, the Indigenous Canadians, like cool with the white people, the French Canadians, like coming and just watching? Is it all cool? Like, they seem pretty open to this. I don't really know the relationship. Oh yeah, they're like, come on, check it out. Oh yeah, they just pull them over. They're like, come on, you gotta check this stuff out. You're not gonna believe what this tree makes. It makes the most delicious stuff you can ever imagine.
Cispacquet.
Cispacquet, sugar. And they're doing the Canadian thing, where they mix it with snow to make snow syrup candy.
Cispacquet.
Oh yeah. She's like, you know what? I was skeptical at first, eating the goo from the tree, but it's good. You guys are right.
And Your Majesty may be pleased to know that this year, thanks to the help of our Indian friends, we have produced some 30,000 pounds of this sweet gift.
Oh, so then the rest of Canada just started harvesting it like crazy. What is this? Like a maple loaf? Maple cheese? What? Maple bread? This right here. What is maple butter maybe? I think I've heard of. Anyway, maple stuff. That's like one of the pivotal moments of the Indigenous Canadians sharing this with the rest of Canada. That's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool way to show it as well. And I think with that's pretty good. I think that's the Heritage Minutes for today. I really enjoy these. These are such a fun way to learn about really interesting moments in Canadian history, like condensed into these tiny little 1-minute videos. Is fantastic. And there's so many of them, so feel free to suggest any that you think would be really cool to watch or interesting or popular. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to leave a comment or give it a like. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Canada and Canadian culture and stuff about Canada I've never seen or learned before, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching and see you next time.